Mohawk Mark is one of the most dangerous and twisted alternate versions of Mark Grayson in the Invincible universe. Unlike the main Mark, who fought against his father's plans, Mohawk Mark embraced the Viltrumite Empire without hesitation. He saw humanity as weak and pointless, and when given the chance, he took control of Earth, ruling it with an iron fist. But what led him down this dark path? How did he rise to power? And what ultimately led to his downfall? In today's video, we'll be breaking down the full history of Mohawk Mark, the Emperor of the Viltrum Empire. Mohawk Mark's story begins much like the Mark Grayson we know, but with one key difference: he was more cynical, more detached from humanity, and saw little value in personal relationships. When Omni-Man revealed the truth about the Viltrumite Empire, Mohawk Mark didn't resist. Instead, he joined his father and pledged loyalty to the Empire. He then went to the Teen Team's base and offered them a chance to rule alongside him, believing they would accept. But when they refused, he slaughtered every single one of them, except for Robot, who faked his death and escaped. This cemented him as a ruthless figure, willing to kill anyone who opposed him. With Earth under Viltrumite control, Mohawk Mark rose to the position of Emperor, likely due to his royal bloodline. He gathered enough Viltrumite support to rule while stripping Thrag of his power. Thrag later formed a resistance, but for years, he was unable to overthrow Mohawk Mark. Despite his absolute control, Mohawk Mark still felt loss, especially after the death of Adam Eve. In a disturbing move, he spared several human women and forced them to dress like Eve, using them as replacements for what he lost. This showed that deep down, he still had unresolved emotions, even if he refused to acknowledge them. Later, Mohawk Mark was recruited by Angstrom Levy to take part in the Invincible War, a massive invasion of the main Invincible universe. In exchange for helping to ruin the reputation of the main Mark Grayson, Levy promised to help Mohawk Mark expand his empire across different dimensions. Naturally, he accepted. During the invasion, he attacked Chicago, destroyed Stronghold Penitentiary, and freed dozens of supervillains. When he faced the main Invincible, he mocked him for being a weaker version of himself, but was ultimately knocked out. However, due to the chaos of the war, he managed to escape unnoticed. Over the next few days, he continued his destruction, leveling New York City and causing mass devastation. When the surviving alternate Invincibles regrouped, Angstrom Levy asked them for one last favor: to bring him the main Mark Grayson so he could personally disfigure him as revenge. One of the Invincibles called the plan foolish, realizing Levy was using them. In response, Levy betrayed them all, opening a portal and banishing them to a wasteland dimension, leaving them to die. Mohawk Mark and the others spent months starving in the wasteland, and eventually Sinister Mark, one of the more evil versions of them, suggested cannibalism to survive. Mohawk Mark helped him kill their first victim, and from there, the cycle continued. One by one, the Marks killed and ate the weakest among them until only Sinister Mark and Mohawk Mark remained. Years later, during a battle with the main Invincible, Angstrom Levy sent him to the same wasteland dimension. There, he found Sinister Mark eating another Mark's corpse. Just as Sinister Mark tried to kill him, Mohawk Mark intervened, beating Sinister Mark to death and expressing his hatred for what they had become. As Sinister Mark died, a regretful Angstrom Levy opened a portal, allowing both Mohawk Mark and Invincible to escape. However, Mohawk Mark immediately turned on Levy, pulling him into his own dimension and imprisoning him. He tortured Levy for months, trying to force him to help expand his empire, but Levy refused. Instead, Mohawk Mark kept him alive just enough for his scientists to extract his powers. Months later, the main Invincible and Robot traveled to Mohawk Mark's world, escorted by Conquest, who assumed they were there for peace talks. Mohawk Mark welcomed them, believing Invincible was an ally for helping him return home. As he led them to Levy, he ranted about how all versions of Mark Grayson were destined to become like him, given the right circumstances. When they arrived at Levy's mangled form, Robot saw Mohawk Mark as a threat to his own plans. Without warning, he used a frequency attack to disorient both Marks, then planted a bomb inside Mohawk Mark's throat. The bomb burrowed through his esophagus and detonated, killing him instantly. Robot then slit Levy's throat, eliminating him as well, before stranding Invincible in Mohawk Mark's world and leaving with his own plans in motion. Mohawk Mark's story is a haunting look at what Mark Grayson could have become under different circumstances. He believed he was stronger, smarter, and more capable than his main counterpart, but in the end, he was just another version of Mark who let power consume him. His downfall wasn't brought by a hero, but by someone even more ruthless than himself. It's a tragic reminder that no matter how powerful you become, there's always someone waiting for the right moment to take you down. That's the full history of Mohawk Mark. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a deep dive into the world of Invincible. Let me know in the comments which character you'd like to see covered next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.